In this video we're going to show you a drill that 99% of tour pros do, but only 1% of amateur golfers actually practice. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson, welcome back to Get Good at Golf. Do you struggle around the greens? We all know that the world's best players have fantastic short games. This shot for them, they will be trying to hole 9 times out of 10, but a lot of amateur golfers would struggle just to get up and down. Now the key here is to get a good strike and pick a landing area, but how can you work on that strike if you're struggling with your technique? So we always like to look at the basics. We want to look at ball position, we want to look at handle position, and Chris has got a fantastic drill that he's actually used with some of the world's best players on tour, so you can take this to your game. I think I just kicked my ball there, that wasn't ideal. But the first thing we want to do is make sure that the ball position is correct. So in previous times you might have been taught to have this on the back foot, to have the handle forward and to hit down on the ball. Your problem there is the leading edge has too much interaction with the ground. So we want that ball position to be a little bit further forward, we want it to be more middle of the stance, and we don't actually want the handle to be forward. We want the handle to be more neutral here, so we have a little bit more loft on that club. Loft is your friend, especially when we're talking around the greens, and if you have more loft, you're actually introducing more bounce underneath the club. If you start to take that loft off, the leading edge starts to get sharper and sharper. That's where you're going to struggle with the lies. That's where you're going to start duffing chip shots, and that's where you're really going to struggle. So ultimately I still want my weight on my left side. The last thing I want to do is have weight on my right side, and we actually see that with a lot of amateur golfers as well, because you're trying to flick the ball up in the air. Now that might work for you on occasion, but it's certainly not going to be consistent, because you can't return the club with the same dynamic loft every single time. We have static loft at address and then dynamic loft at impact. So you can see here, ball nicely in the middle, weight on my left side, and all I'm going to do is rock my shoulders and release the club nicely. And again there, I've reduced the same, and again there, I've produced the same dynamic loft as the first shot, and again we've got a nice gimme close to that flag. So how do I do this? The big thing I want to do is make sure the takeaway isn't too far on the inside, the takeaway isn't taken up on the outside, and I certainly don't fan that club away too much here. I want to make sure that, similar to the full swing, my left arm stays connected and the club moves back with a nice square club face to that arc. So as long as the club face stays square to that arc, I'm not thinking about keeping it square to the ball, because that's going to mean it's closed, and I'm going to reduce the dynamic loft, and it's also going to make the face point left, and I'm not going to open it up here, because that's going to add dynamic loft, and if you return that you might shank it, or the face will point too far to the right. So nice and simply, take the club away, rotate the chest, and let the hands just work through. And again there, you can see I've got the right distance control, the ball's rolled just behind the flag, and I've been able to pick my landing area. The landing area is vitally important when you are playing this shot, because if I don't pick a landing area and I just think, right, technique is key, I want to make sure that ball position's right, James said handle nice and neutral, a nice neutral shaft angle, weight on the left side, right, I'm just going to go. That technique was good, the landing area was about 15 feet too far, and that ball has rolled on far too far as well. So what drill are we talking about that the world's best golfers use, but 99% of amateur golfers don't even bother with? Unfortunately, it's not seen as part of the sexy area of the game, like hitting longer drives, like smashing it past your friends off the tee. But for me, this is an area that I absolutely love. It can massively change your game, help you lower your scores, help you reduce your handicap, help you get good at golf. Guys, I hope you've got your socks on, because they're about to be blown off with this awesome drill.
So guys, this drill is going to be what we see all the time around the green. If you go and watch the Open, if you go and watch the British Masters, or if you're overseas and you go and watch any tournaments, you'll see a lot of players down there using one hand. So as a right-hand golfer, they get the right hand on the grip, and you'll see them around the green starting to get a feel of that club head releasing, but it's releasing with a turning body. So one big thing James mentioned there, and people mention it in putting as well, is the rocking of the shoulders. So what we don't see tour players do is rock the shoulders this way. But that's what we probably see 99% of amateurs do, because they feel like that is exactly what they're trying to do. We want to be rocking the shoulders, but we still have a little bit of rotation, so we want that chest to be moving. And what this drill does is, if we don't get the club and body working together, then we're not going to make good contact. For example, if I stand here now with one hand and I let that arm come off, that's not exactly what we want.
Your best, mate.
A little bit thin, and that's exactly what we see when people try and do this drill. So we see this a lot. So you might have seen this drill a million times online, or from players doing it, tour players, again, male and female, But when we see amateurs do it, they start to lose connection, they do this, the club comes off, and then from there, we're not being able to control our low point. So what we want to see, again, is this arm connected to the chest. So that's what we do here. We've got the left hand if you're a right-handed golfer. We keep your bicep squeezed into your chest, and we've got to get the body and club matching up. So I have to rotate to get that club to match up. So if I do that now, you'll see that I'm able to control the flight and control the distance. So there, the club, you'll see that the loft is on the club, and if James comes round, it's exactly out in front of my chest. So the butt of the club is still towards my belt buckle or my belly button. It's not here, and it's not released there. So I've not over released, I've not flicked at the golf ball, I've also not drove it, because a lot of people start to drive the club. They start to go, all right, I've been told now, I'm probably putting a little bit too much loft on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get hands forwards, and I'm going to start to drive it this way.
My dad does this.
I can get my 60, but I can still get it coming out with some height, but I'm guaranteeing it's going forwards. The other thing we see is people start to go back, they go nice and smooth, and then it's very quick. We get a lot of change in transition, so there's a lot of speed change. We get a lot of lag, the elusive lag that everyone's always trying to find. That's the last thing we want in chipping. We want this club head to be releasing with the turning body, and we can play whatever shot you want. You can still play a low one if we have it back in the stance, but again, I'm not pushing the hands forwards, I'm just going to move my weight forwards, and you'll see here I can still play this kind of shot, and I can get that releasing low. I've still released the club head, I can still see the loft. Two totally different flights there, but good results. So what we don't want to see you doing, guys, is doing this where we have a little bit of acceleration, and we also don't want to be rocking those shoulders. We want to be turning. So if that becomes too easy, what we'll see from the elite pros, and again the tour players, lady and men, is they will go left hand only. So left hand only for a right-handed golfer, be right hand only for a left-handed golfer. But here it's even harder because I have to get this club head releasing. If I drive this, I'm not going to be able to make contact. I'm probably going to hit the dreaded shot over to the right, which we don't mention on this channel, shank. So if we can do it left-handed, then it's good. And a lot of people say when they're chipping, oh, I've got the yips because I don't know if my right hand's working too much.
You said shank and yip in like 10
Yes.
seconds. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you might not sleep tonight. But again, we start to say that, all right, my hands aren't working together. So once we've got it right-handed, then let's try and do it left-handed. Again, exactly the same. The ball position's correct. My weight's a little bit left, and then I've got to make sure that I turn and I release that club head, and you'll see loft is on outside of a turning body, and we're able then to generate a similar strike, a similar flight, and that is how we are going to get consistent in short game.
You see the spin on that last one?
I know, fierce spin.
Did it come out the middle? I mean, wet face isn't going to help, but you can sort of get it with, you know, like you can see your strike location better. I always get it more at the middle with a one-handed drill.
Yes, me too. We can let the body turn. We don't try and hit it. We let the club do the work, and as a result, you'll see there we're going to be able to control that spin. Even out of a wet lie, a little bit of semi-rough, we're still able to get spin, and that's what you've got to think. You do this, and it's going to help you get good at golf.